New patch notes 24.2.2 just dropped. You know the drill, let's take a look at them. But first, a very quick word of the sponsor of the video. Now, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Hearthstone, which is a deck tracker that I'm currently using. The amount of stats that this offers is pretty insane. From, of course, seeing when you're gonna get 99% lethal, to all the minions that are in the lobby, additional stuff like your lost opponent's board, and a bunch of other overlay features like seeing when opponents level and triple. And then the application itself, where you can see your previous fights, you can simulate all of these battles and see the outcome if you would change something. You could track your MMR. You can see perfect boards and perfect games from other people, and my game is included that I had yesterday. There's a lot of things here to explore and to mess around with. If you want to try it out yourself, it's completely free as well. Check the link in the description below. Back to the video. So it seems like this patch is mainly catered towards standard. There seems to be a bunch of standard changes, but it's massive, so I'm hoping that there's some BG changes in here as well. And there indeed is. Now, these are a bunch of armor changes for obvious reasons. I could name all of these, but you can pause the video and check them out, or check out the patch notes yourself. But basically, a bunch of heroes got swapped around with armor tiers, so now this will reflect into, hopefully, into heroes being more balanced. Now, Dogdog finally got changed. This has been one of the strongest heroes in the game for a while. Very oppressive, because if you face this guy on turn 4 or 5 after they power level, they're almost unbeatable and you're taking 15 damage. So finally seeing a nerf is good. His hero power went to 10 gold instead of 9. And now this might not seem like a lot, but it's a really big deal, because now after your power level, you can't just press your hero power and take the entire shop, which previously, that's the reason why Dogdog was good. You go to tier 3, hero power, get 4 cards. Now the issue is you have to wait a turn and then hero power the turn after. Still strong. I think this hero might still see play. You probably have to play some different curve. Maybe Jeeve curve is better with this now. Maybe there are some different kind of leveling curve that we have to go for that, I haven't figured out yet because I'm just recording this video, but that we might see a rise with this. Maybe 4 and 4 becomes way more appealing now, because then everything lines up better. So I think the hero still has potential, still is a pretty good hero power, but it's not going to be as oppressive as it used to be. It's also not going to be S tier anymore. I think this change is big enough, because again, if you press your hero power, the next hero power is also going to cost 1 more gold. So previously you could press your hero power, then the turn after you could sell hero power again, or you could wait 2 turns hero power. Now it's going to be a lot harder to have that snowball rolling in the mid game. So I think it might drop down 1 or 2 tiers, but I don't think this will be a bad hero still to take. That was the only hero change. I want to point out that in the latest patch, they mentioned that they're committed to keeping all heroes balanced, so that way the 2 hero options instead of 4 is more optionality than skill, so you can still win games. I want to see that. I want them to balance heroes more. There's so many trash heroes like Edwin, Rakanishu, like Illidan. Please just buff those, change those, like stand true to your words. So far that seems like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I really want to see more balance changes to heroes. Minion changes. Netherdrake got nerfed, so apparently this was too strong and it went from 5 health to 4 health. Now, I think this card was alright. The main reason why this was strong and that I saw it being played a lot is in combination with the 2-drop Whelp Smuggler. So you play Netherdrakes together with Whelp Smuggler, so you get +1 attack on all your dragons and also +1 health. And that's the way to scale as well. And this might be the reason why Ysera's win rate was so high. I think Ysera is one of the highest win rate heroes at the moment. Either because of Netherdrake or because of the new 3-drop dragon that got added that makes Targosa way better and more consistent to get a divine shield. But also there's a lot of quests that are good with Targosa, like stolen gold. You can make them permanently golden. Pretty nuts. But yeah, seeing this change kind of makes sense, but I'm not sure how much. I think the scaling possibility is still there. You still get +1 attack and +1 health on everything, but it's not good as a standalone card anymore. Previously, you might take this if you find this in your shop together with another dragon, just for tempo, because it's good. It lost that ability. I think it is no longer kind of a standalone card that you want to take. It is more mainly if you want to force that scaling strat. Now, Legion Overseer. I expected a nerf here because this card is incredibly busted, has so many synergies, it's just so strong, and the main reason why power leveling is also good. From +2/+2, it went to +2/+1. Which is a big nerf, because well, the health is pretty relevant that you give on stuff in the shop. It's still a good card. You still want this if you're eating shops or if you find it early. It's still strong. I think a cleaner solution would probably be putting it on tier 4, honestly, because it's still an incredibly good free drop. I think it will still have a high win rate that you still want to take it, but it's good to see at least something change, so it's gonna be less suppressive to face early on. However, I'm not sure if this will be big enough. We'll have to see. I think it's still an amazing card. Now, Ember Guardian was the other dragon I talked about when I was talking about Ysera being good. This one giving permanent divine shield and stats to Targosas every turn pretty good, turns out. It used to give +3/+3, it got nerfed to +2/+2, so it now gives a less +1/+1, which I think does not matter that much because the main big thing about this is the Divine Shield. Like being able to permanently shield target cells is good. Now it's also permanent scaling, I guess, like +3/+3 a turn, right? As long as you keep this on the board. That is going to be a bit less. I guess it's less of a tempo spike now. Like previously, if you had any dragon, maybe the 2-drop, maybe, you know, something else. Now, I guess you have, if you find this early, you have less tempo immediately thrown on the board. Again, these nerfs are kind of minor. They're like small stat changes, so I don't think it will change the gameplay too much. You will still see the same combos. I think they're still relatively the same power level, but standalone, these cards got worse. So if you want to take this as a tempo card early, it just got a bit nerfed there. Same with, well, Legion Overseer is always good, but same with Nether Drake, for example. So I think the card still serves its purpose, basically. Lava Lurker. Now, this was a buff I did not expect. From 4 health, it went to 5. I am gonna be honest, I'm completely in the dark here. I don't really know why. I think people, I guess they have stats on this, right? Lava Lurker apparently has a low win rate or has like low viability, even though Naga is good. Naga endgame is pretty strong, especially with Sinstone, the quest being in the game that doubles your discovers. I think Naga is in a pretty good spot. The mid game or early game does lack a little bit. I think Lava Lurker is still a decent card. So I'm wondering why they buffed this. Again, they probably have stats on this, but it's kind of whatever. The card is still good. Party Elemental, another buff that is kind of out of the blue. From 3 attack to 4 attack, so +1 attack buff, kind of whatever as well. Small bonus to Party Elemental. I guess Party Elementals are not really played that much anymore recently, because if you play Elementals, it's either tier 5 Lil Rag stuff, or Nomi, or, you know, that kind of high roll stuff. And people don't really pick this on tier 2. If you stay on tier 2, the most picked cards are the dragons or leapers, just playing beasts. And most of the time people skip tier 2 anyway and go to tier 3. That's where the strong stuff is. Or Death Rattles, because there's a lot of quests that interact with Death Rattles. But yeah, Party Elemental has been a bit neglected. I assume that also reflected into the win rate being low and therefore it being buffed, which is fine. I think Party Elemental is an okay card. I think it's alright for the game, some early tempo scaling. I'm okay with this. Yoho. Okay, another one I don't really understand. So this one goes from 5 health to 6 health. I guess Yoho was already good statted. I think for a 3-5 on tier 2, that is good stats, you know? And it's a pirate, so if you find the captain, it's already a 4-6. That trades twice into almost everything, that early at least. So putting it at 6 health, a 3-6, that is really good stats for tier 2. This is one of the best statted 2-drops we've ever had in the game. So even better to take right now. Again, I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe pirates early on needed a buff, but we got this now. I think tier 2 in general got buffed, so I don't know why. I see a lot of people just doing basicers right now, leveling to tier 2. So they are making tier 2 even stronger. There's even more, I mean, I guess this is a nerf, but other than that, they nerfed tier 3, Overseer is nerfed, and Ember Guardian is nerfed, so going to tier 3 is a little bit less good. And tier 2, we have Lava Lurker buffed, Party buffed, Yoho buffed. That seems to be the end of the minion changes, so it's even more appealing now to just not power level but stay down. Although I think power leveling will still be good. Now, quest and reward changes. As a reminder, quests and quest rewards in Battlegrounds are not static. Quests have baseline values that are adjusted game by game based on several factors, including the value of the reward they are paired with. So they definitely made some changes to quests now. I hope some of them here are explained. Track the footprints is where you have to refresh 10 times. Now you will have to refresh 9 times, which makes sense. Refreshing a lot was always a hard quest to complete because it's a lot of wasted gold early on. Now, the quest where you have to spend 30 gold is now 33 gold. So spending gold quests were pretty easy because you don't have to do anything fancy. It just automatically fulfills itself. So now it's going to be a bit harder. Having 18 friendly minions die is now 19. It's just slightly harder because I guess it was also too easy to complete. And some reward changes. Tiny Henchman gave +2/+2 to 3 friendly minions of tier 3 or lower. Now gives +3/+3. So small buff to Tiny Henchman. It's like the tiny light fang on the board that skills some cards. It's a good tempo one. Like I took this one a couple times if I can complete it in 1 or 2 turns, just as tempo to scale up some cards on my board and be able to level with that. So seeing that being even like more buffed here, it depends on if they made this quest harder or not. If this is still as easy to complete as it used to be, then I think this will be pretty good actually. A pretty good tempo quest to hit. Not as good as some of the others, but still a consideration, I guess. Alter Ego, I didn't think this one was good. Pleasantly surprised me in a couple of games. So I think Alter Ego is like a quest somewhere in the middle. It is now instead of +6/+6, +7/+7. So if you can complete this in a couple turns as well, really good. Also with demons. Yeah, I think this is alright. I think it needed a very tiny buff to be good now, and I think Alter Ego is probably going to be a decent quest. Staff of Origination actually got nerfed. It used to give +15/+15 at the start of combat, is now +12/+12. This was already a really hard quest to complete, and it didn't win lobbies. In most of the lobbies I saw it being picked, people either died with this quest, or they got it but then died anyway later, because 15/15 on the board is nice, it's good tempo, it doesn't win the game. I would assume that in lower ranks where there's less scaling and like less explosiveness, this is probably really good, and that is probably why it gets nerfed, because of the high win rate. But in higher ranks I see this not being as amazing. I know with Tarragos it's permanent scaling, but seeing it nerfed this heavily is well, something I did not see coming. So I'm wondering if they're making this easier now to obtain. Now the difficulty adjustments. Steel Tiger Sapphire, Snicker Snacks, and Red Hand are now easier. So Teal Tiger, yeah, need to be easier. Every time I saw this, it was pretty hard to complete, and it's also just not really worth it unless you high roll Felbat. Snicker Snacks, also very situational. This being easier, I think is good, because there's a lot of cool interactions, a lot of cool things you can do with it, so I'm happy to see it maybe being picked a bit more. And Red Hand easier is surprising to me. I think Red Hand was like ideal. I think it was hard enough or easy enough to obtain, and you also need to greed, hold stuff back in hand. So I like the way this played out most of the time. But making it even easier to earn is a bit scary, because I saw someone, like, I think it was a Denefrius, complete this on turn 3 and already start scaling massive pub bots, like on turn 3. So I hope it's not going to go out of control. Now, these ones are now harder. Smoking Gun, which is a +5 attack, which makes sense. It's apparently pretty good. Mirror Shield, which also is really good. Getting Divine Shields turns out to be nuts. And Stolen Gold, which was also S tier. So these were all S tier. I think Smoking Gun, I didn't put it S tier. I didn't think it was that good. But it makes sense that all of these are now harder to earn, so nothing surprising there. Some other Battlegrounds changes added a cap to the Sort It All Out and Unmask the Culprits quests, limiting the top end requirements needed in order to complete the quest. So I guess they made it a bit easier on those two quests specifically. Fixed the bug where Lich Bazial 0 power could not be used if your hand was full. That's probably because it was still coded the way that it couldn't give you a coin, while there was no more coins to earn. Fix the bug where Kalta's Verdant Spheres will now give a buff if the minion was magnetized. Oh, I didn't know about that. That's actually a big deal. So, in case you were wondering, here it is. That's it for this patch. Let me know what you thought down below. If you want to catch a cool game where I play Verdant Spheres for the first time. And if you want to know how good it is, check it out on the screen right now. Thank you for watching.